So thank you, Aljosha. The remote floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Atanas. Good to see you at least on the screen. And hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. Maybe a short sign of a yes or hands up or something. Is everything fine? Very good. Thank you. Right, so it's my pleasure to be here, at least remotely, and to present something that I've done, basically, as Atanas said, during my time at vSense and also that our startup company Volograms is doing. But I now joined the Immersive Reality Center of Hochschule Luzern, which is an institution, I think, quite, as I heard your introduction this morning, Atanas, which is quite similar to what you have in Tampere. So we also are a center of excellence for immersive technologies in central Switzerland and do a lot of different things. And for instance, we look at volumetric video, which was also mentioned now a couple of times this morning already, which is this novel emerging form of visual media that allows you to capture people, performances, and turn them into three-dimensional models that can then be brought into XR experiences or other things, broadcast or in principle any type of media content. And I'm going to talk about creative experiments that we have been doing over the last couple of years, where we showcase how this type of content can be used in XR. So I also was happy to listen to this conversation about Metallica, which I'm also a big fan of. And at the end of this talk, there will be some examples about XR music as well. So traditionally, this volumetric video is captured in specific studios, like the one that we have in Dublin, which is a kind of affordable setup with a limited number of 12 cameras, synchronized cameras that capture a performance in a limited space. So similar to what you've seen before. And I know in Tampere you have a very nice studio as well now, and I'd be curious to see it myself one day. But I won't talk too much about that. So something is captured, and then algorithms of computer vision and computer graphics turn this into some sort of a three-dimensional model, right? So that is the same from a data side of things, like some computer graphics model, a dynamic computer graphics model, and that can then be used and integrated in various applications. Wherever you would use computer graphics, you can also use this type of content. So for instance, here you see that person that you saw before in the capture stage now in an AR application. So someone is holding a mobile device up, and this is in real time projected into this view. But on the left-hand side, you see another similar example of the same content now as a Snapchat filter integrated again on a mobile device. And on the right-hand side, you see again a bit the nature of this content, right? So it is the nature of graphics, but it is captured from the real world. So it's not graphics. It's volumetric video. And here are more examples of mobile snippets where volumetric video is integrated with the help of ARKit or AR Core in various examples. But you can, of course, also use that in other applications. So as we say, to bring real people into XR or to bring real people into the metaverse. Right. On the right-hand side, we will see this example in more detail in a minute. Someone is wearing a VR headset like this and is virtually visiting a remote location, which is Trinity College. So there's a 3D reconstruction, photogrammetry of Trinity College, and you can go in and meet a person, a real person that was here integrated as a volumetric video. And on the left-hand side, you see the same asset, the same 3D model that is integrated now or displayed via a HoloLens. So this is a real person wearing a HoloLens inside the real environment, and this content projected into the scenery. And so the use case behind that is a cultural heritage virtual museum where you can enhance either a real visit by bringing such content into it, or you can also make virtual visits to places remotely. No? So that's besides these mobile use cases, you can also think about such use cases. And And we have seen so far capturing in a rig, but as deep learning has been disruptive for a lot of areas, also for ours. So now it is possible also to run AI algorithms and to do 3D reconstruction of humans just from a single mobile phone video. So this is something that our startup company Volograms is doing. So they released an app where you just capture a video like the one you see here. So this is the input video and nothing but that. And it is then turned so you can do semantic segmentation, you can do 3D reconstruction, monocular 3D reconstruction, and you can also estimate a 3D skeleton. And you get this full 3D model. And once you have the 3D model, you can equally use it in all sorts of applications, right? And so this app is on the App Store for iPhone currently, so you can download it yourself and do this type of videos. So all of this is user-generated content just made with a single phone, right? So the phone captures the video, it transfers it to the cloud, and then you receive the volumetric video back, and then it can be used to be visualized. So this is something that now allows to make volumetric video on a very affordable way. So you don't need these large studios anymore, but you can capture something very quickly as well. So you don't need to book time in a studio in advance. You don't need to plan weeks in ahead for your shoot, but can, with a very quick turnaround, also capture some content. Of course, there's a big quality gap that you will also see if you try the Volu app. So especially the back of the person is not of very high quality. But there might be applications like user-generated content or games or others where the affordability, so the low cost and also the quick turnaround might be important. So this is something, here is examples of what Volu users have been sharing on social media platforms. But of course, you can also think of more professional use cases like digital fashion or games or immersive experiences and different things. We have also run a test with Fox Sports and RTE, the local Irish a broadcaster, to try out in which cases this type of affordable low-cost capture would be interesting for these use cases. So if you're interested to make a volumetric video yourselves, you can, right? So get the Volu app. And there are also plugins available now to export this content then into Unity or other game engines, so you can use it in any type of an application. Okay, but let's talk about mostly about our creative experiments. And you see some examples down there on the right. So the idea here is for vSense, as we're a lab developing technology, but also to early on engage with the creative community to give our tools in the hands of artists, and then to showcase and prototype it in real creative productions. And if I heard Atanas this morning, this is also something that you are doing in Tampere, and I think that there's a lot of value in doing this kind of collaborations. So this gives us visibility, impact, and also proof of concept and early feedback on what we are doing. So early on, we got together even before all of this was fully developed, and did some of these experiments that I'll show you in the following. So you already saw this example of Jonathan Swift in the Trinity Long Room. So the Trinity Library is one of the it's a very beautiful place, one of the most beautiful in the world, maybe. So definitely a big and important tourist attraction in Dublin. And we talked to the people that are running this library about how XR technologies could enhance and expand their experiences. And we got particularly the idea to bring one of these busts to life that are in there. So if you go there, there are busts from famous scholars and creatives. So from Aristotle and Plato up to Newton and and Jonathan Swift, for instance. These are busts of famous scholars. So the idea was in particular to bring one of them to life, and in a VR experience to allow audiences to virtually visit a part of the library and meet one of the people, or for the concept of an AR enhanced visit to go in and with a mobile device then to get some enhanced visual experience. So for that, we dressed up an actor as Jonathan Swift. So there's some costumes and makeup behind here. So a real professional production that we made here. We hired an actor, and a script was written. So he was telling something about himself. So, hey, I'm Jonathan Swift, and kind of a bit of a humoristic episode from his life. So this was captured in a volumetric setup, and you see this was very early on, where we didn't even have our studio. So it's a provisional green screen, and provisionally we set up some cameras around him and captured the person and turned it into such a volumetric model. And if you see the videos in the following, it will not be the most top class quality that we could get together today, or that you get from the studio in Tampere, but it's due to the fact that this was a very early on test and prototype. But we get this volumetric model. We also reconstructed this alcove of Trinity Library and made a 3D model of that. So not only photogrammetry, you will also see we needed to refine the model a bit, also manually in something like Blender or Maya. But then once you have it, you can put it together in a game engine like Unity, and then you can export it to Steam VR or whatever your VR platform is, and make it available. And people then can virtually go into this experience, be fully immersed in 6 degrees of freedom, and meet the person who is speaking there with full 6 degrees of freedom audio, and experience this as if they are inside, or on the left-hand side, put up an AR headset and then also get, this is the bust of Jonathan Swift, and meet him next to his bust. So here you see again an example really on a mobile phone. Someone is holding this mobile phone, the clear evidence here. And I think you get the idea behind that, of a virtual enhanced visit. And we also made a user study on that. So we have a nice journal paper on this, where we basically compared the handheld and the head-mounted experience, and collected user feedback on how they feel this technology is useful for such an application. To the next one. So we addressed another hero of Irish culture, who is Samuel Beckett, Nobel Prize winner, and a big drama player, a playwright, if you don't know him. Here the idea was to work with people from the drama department to bring one of his plays to life, and to make a VR and an AR version of a drama, of a play, right? So instead of going to the theater, you can put up a VR or AR headset and then experience this drama in XR. So we selected this play called Play, as it in itself already lends itself very nicely to be reinterpreted in VR, as it's basically a story where you have 3 characters. So it's a man, the lover, and the wife. They're all 3 dead, so they're in urns, and it plays in the afterworld. And the original scenography set out by Beckett was that these 3 actors would be set on a stage next to each other. And in the background, there would be a person with a light, and would shine light on these people, and one at a time. And the actors would have monologues, and they would kind of start speaking when the light shines on them. So it is already an interactive gameplay. scenario, right? So it's also non-linear in some way from the storytelling, and it's kind of it turns out always differently. And the actors are just there and start speaking when they are in the light. So we kind of recreated the scenery. So we put up people in these urns and captured, in this case, only their heads. So that makes the reconstruction very easy. Created a scenery in Unity with these urns, and then you can put up your headset and go in. Like here you see Jan, but here again the scenography. So a 3D model, a game, if you want, and you put on your headset and go inside. You are immersed inside the theater play. And now you or the audience plays the role of the interrogator. So the moment when someone looks at, so if you turn and look at one of these people, they start, the video gets, the audio gets started, and you hear and see them performing, right? So basically, the play itself already holds this interaction metaphor that we used here for the realization. So that was very innovative because not only on the technology side, but also on the art side. And we won an art award for this type of innovative use case of VR technology in a theatrical setting.
Virtual play is a reimagining of
and by the way, all of this material is online available. So there's lots of videos and things you can look at. So you see here, someone is wearing a VR headset and inside the experience looking around. It's full 6 degrees of freedom with spatial audio. So if you go closer, it's not just 360 video. If you go towards them, you see they get bigger. And also the audio is turning as you are interacting with it. So here you see the person wearing the headset, and that's what the person is seeing on the screen. Yeah, and you can imagine how this play evolves while you are in there, and maybe you hear a bit of the audio now.
I understood why he preferred me.
As I did with all my heart, I could not but feel sorry for her.
I said to him, give her up.
The user also has 6 degrees of freedom to move around the virtual environment.
Right, so you can fully move around this. So I think you get it. And here is the same content now in an AR version. So this is filmed from someone wearing a Magic Leap headset. So now this is a real environment where we had the big event in an industrial, old industrial building in Dublin, in the basement. So it's a dungeon. So the real environment fits to the dramaturgical setting. And again, we organized these virtual or these volumetric video elements in the room, and someone could then put on their headset and go in and look at them, interact with them, and they would start speaking in the moment when you look at them.
Blubber mouth, jowls, no neck, dogs you could calves like a flunky.
Or more desperate. She had a razor in her vanity bag. Adulterers take one.
Is there anything between us? He said. What do you take me for? Something machine?
You also hear the noise of the reception because this was basically in a big room. And so here you see the team. So that is the director, Nick Johnson, and Neil O'Dwyer, the Vicent's member and choreographer and creative director. And that's Rafa, the CEO of Holograms, and Jan, the CTO of Holograms, and Kostas, also one of the core, the COO of Holograms. And you see this brought us kind of coverage of a full page coverage in the Irish Times, which is one of the main Irish newspapers. Now, so this was again a very innovative way of using XR technology and especially volumetric video for theater performances. And you see, we have a lot of publications on that. So there was something on SIGGRAPH and ISMAR, so some technical presentations, but also a lot of theater journals, right? So performance art and digital media, MIT Press. It's also more on the theatrical side. So because we are inventing a novel form of storytelling and a novel form of making stories where the audiences are inside, that's also something new and pioneering and groundbreaking on the theatrical side. This is an ongoing or still another one of our projects where we brought another of the big Irish cultural pieces to life, which is Ulysses, the famous novel by James Joyce, which also has a centennial, so it's 100 years old this year in 2022. So here we brought the opening scene of the book to life, right? In this opening scene, there are two characters. So one is this person here, and the clothes that he's wearing is as it is written in the book. This is also the original location in the south of Dublin that this place in. So we went to this place. It's a tower called the Martello Tower in the south of Dublin, Dublin Bay. We reconstructed it as a photogrammetry model. We also took a 360 picture of Dublin Bay, and we placed this Joycean actor who is now acting the opening scene of the book. And so you hear him talking and you impersonate the second person. And basically also the audio that this person is speaking, you hear it as if it's yourself, right? So as if you are the person. So you are living through this scenery on this opening scene. And this video is also online. You also see a bit of the process, how the capture works, how then the acting works, right? Because this is also new. There's no behind the scenes and such things in such a production. So the director and all the other crew goes out of the room. So here Neil is talking to the actor. Then he leaves the room, and then the capture starts. Once the capture is done, you have to do some low-level vision algorithms for color correction and things like that, and segmentation and keying. Right. And then this algorithms turn this into a 3D model for every time step, and then you can bring it into a game engine. So this is now the volumetric video in an empty game engine scene, and then you add the 3D model of the tower that is done separately by photogrammetry. Then you have the 360 picture, and then you have to put it all together and make it fit, and position the person, position the audio. And once you have that, you can then export it for your headset and then give it to users and go in. So this was the first station of Ulysses. And if you know Ulysses, it's a book that plays on one day in 16th of June. And the protagonist is going along a route through Dublin. So we now produced this first stage, which is happening here on this Martello Tower. And meanwhile, also a second scene that plays later in the center. And you can imagine that this project could go on and basically implement all of these stations of the book in as VR and VR experiences. So you're very welcome also to connect to us if you have more, want to know more about this or any of the other projects. Don't know if I still have time for showing another one. So this is where we worked with a director from Berlin, Lauren Moffat, who wrote a dedicated piece for VR. So in that case, there are two people acting with each other, which also means that the production has to be different than if it would be a normal movie, right? So because we can capture only one person at a time. So the actors had to practice very well and learn how to perform without the presence of the other. And also the director and the actors had to work very well to prepare this. And then each one of them would go into the studio once at a time, be captured, be reconstructed, and then you put them together later in the experience. And it has three different parts. So you can go into the inner mind of each of them, and then also be in something like the objective world. So they are in a gallery looking at the painting. So you can explore this world again in full 6 degrees of freedom. You see, it's very artsy. So the look and feel is very much part of it. And you can then also go into and see the same scenery from a subjective point of view from each of them. And that also won a nice art award in 2020, again, because of this innovative use of VR in this experience. And to come back to music, so here we worked not with Metallica, but with a local Irish rock band, which also plays quite music and not far away from that. So here we basically captured the guitarist and the singer, and we created a scenography also together with them. And we had the audio as from the production as a different instruments, and we created here a 3D soundscape, so with full 6 degrees of freedom spatial audio. So if you navigate around the scenery and stand, for instance, close to the guitar player, you will hear the guitar louder. Now, if you go closer to her, you hear the singing more. And then in the middle, you get something like the usual mix. No, but again, it's an example of how this technology of bringing real people into such XR experiences can also be applied to something like a rock example. No, but to the question earlier, this is not working in real time, at least not yet. So there's still a way to go to do that in real time, but certainly, again, a quite innovative example of how this technology can be used for reinterpretation in an interactive way of music. So here the bass is, I think the bass, here we are somewhere close to the bass. So this video is also online if you want to explore it in more detail. Yeah, so let me put things together. All right, so we have seen volumetric video is this novel type of interactive and immersive media. It enables to bring real people into XR, the metaverse, broadcasts, or other types of media. With that, it also enables novel forms of storytelling and communication. We are now, I think, it's mature enough to use it in games and VR experiences and in other productions. Deep learning is just entering this content creation, so I see a lot of potential to improve and make things easier, and maybe also getting closer to real-time performances through deep learning. We've heard about coding and streaming, so that's a lot of data and a lot of data that is different from classical video, so that requires some more work in coding, streaming, and quality assessment, so to realize the full pipeline. To do that in real time and bidirectional, to do telepresence at the sufficient quality level is still something that is, I would say, not mature enough. So there is still some room for improvement, right? So to get to telepresence, and also the example here of Princess Leia is not fully bidirectional telepresence, so it's just a message in a bottle that R2D2 delivers, so they are just listening to this, so it's pre-recorded and not real time. But that just as a side note. Yeah, with that, thanks a lot, and if you go to the vSense website, you will find all these creative experiments with lots of videos and text and everything that you need to see. Right, and especially the XR music. Yeah, so I wanted to say, we don't have the experiences themselves online, but we do have the music video online. So if you know how to handle Steam VR and such things, you can download the full experience, the XR music experience, and experience it yourself. And but please let us know if you do so we have a little bit of an overview of who is doing that and what the feedback is, maybe. So, and with that, thank you very much for your attention, and happy to answer questions. Thank you.